Hello and welcome back to Redirecting. In this video, we are going to be talking about the satanic infiltration of children's clothing. Now, understand that this is nothing new. This started actually a long time ago, but it is getting worse, okay? I'm going to be talking about also in this video how they are trying to blur the lines, gender lines, and there is a very clear agenda that is being pushed. Through clothing now, they are infiltrating children's clothing to the point where they don't want a line of separation at all. I'm going to be talking about a video or a commercial by Celine Dion where she's trying to blur the line, saying that there should not be a gender assigned to children at birth. The girls in pink, the boys in blue. She wants to blur that line, get rid of that line, and just have the children wear genderless clothing. In the commercial or the clip, she is blowing what appears to be some type of dust into the air as she enters into a children's ward after the children are born in the hospital. You know, they have them in a room. So she enters in and she blows this dust, and all of a sudden the girls in pink and the boys in blue is no more. They are wearing genderless fashions. So no longer defining them as boys or girls. And in this little ritualistic voodoo blowing of the dust, you also see what appears to be a voodoo doll in one of the baby's bassinets. And so this woman has a very clear agenda. I'm going to roll a very quick video clip, and I will be right back with more commentary on her agenda as well as the fashion industry, period. They all have an agenda, and it involves your children. I'll roll the clip and be right back.
I'm not here, Celine Dion, singer who's got 3 kids, who's going to tell the world right now, you should do it this way, you should not do that, this is wrong. Listen, I'm not doing that. Let them tell you what they feel like.
Fashion has the power to shape people's minds. We're at Celine trying to shape the future of all human beings by saying, find your own individuality.
We bring a new order as a concept.
Into the world.
Into the world.
You know what? You don't know what they're going to become later. And you don't want for them to have psychologiquement a problem of growth. And say, I'm supposed to be like that, I'm supposed to say that, I'm supposed to dress like this because I'm a guy, I'm a boy, I'm supposed to do. No, you don't know. Let people be who they are as quick and as soon as possible.
Now, as you see in the video, they talked about their new order. We hear a lot about new world order, new this, new that. Even her clothing line is called Celine New, whatever. Okay. What the heck that means, I have no idea, but I'm assuming that it has something to do with New World Order, and her name is attached to it. And what she is saying is that children should not have to be referenced as boy or girl without their consent. That's pretty much what she's saying. Despite what you were born with, there's this new push for children to be able to pick and choose. But what it seems to me is that these adults are picking and choosing, and they are the ones influencing what their children are becoming. I saw another video or article not long ago where a man was actually losing custody of his son because he is not forcing his son to wear girls' clothes. This is something the mother desires, and the boy has said that he wants or prefers to wear boys' clothes, but because there's this custody battle, the mother is winning, and having the father lose rights to his son because he will not uphold her desire to dress him in girls' clothes. And so there is a real push and pull and dragging of wickedness in the fashion industry towards everyone, really, but we're focusing on children in this video because when you don't know and you don't understand that there is an agenda, you will begin to believe and think that things are just happening because these are the signs of the times, or we're just going with the flow of things. Times are changing. We are in ever-changing times, and people are just doing different things now. There's this new push for millennials. These are young people who think that they're changing the face of how the world functions, and they are the trendsetters now, in which they are becoming that. But they are taking the world in a very dark direction. It was already dark before, but through these millennials, we are headed in an even darker direction, because all lines are being blurred. Racial lines. You're having this push for racially ambiguous people to where you don't know what they are. They're blurring the lines of fashion to where it's no longer girls or boys, male or female clothing. And they're also blurring the lines of gender. There are some outfits that if you put them on a girl, you don't know if you're looking at a girl or a boy, because the imagery, girls cutting their hair, men growing their hair, and putting on makeup to make themselves look either male or female, where they were born one way, but they look like something else because the lines are being blurred. And it's even getting to the point where if you don't agree with or help promote or speak out against these things, it's getting to the point where you are the one ostracized if you don't buy it full, jump in head first into the belief system that they are trying to push and promote. It's even to the point where if you try to steer your children in the right direction, they look at that as some form of abuse by telling your children that alternative lifestyles and sexual orientations are not the way to go. This is why there's this push to sexualize children, which brings me to this. There is a clothing store, I believe it's called Sweet and Sexy Kids. And so with this, if they're not trying to blur lines, what they're trying to do is over-sexualize children. And so they start with fashion. And this is nothing new. Like I stated before, I remember when I was coming up, and there was a talk show, I believe it was Jenny Jones, where they had mothers who would dress their children like hookers. And the clothing would be so revealing and so sensual. And the little girls were ages 3, 4, 7, 10. And the mothers were dressing them very sensually, putting on makeup, eyeliner, putting certain hairstyles to make them look more like little women. And so now you have more and more where clothing that is aimed at children no longer looks like children's clothes. For girls, is looking more like sensual clothes, so that they don't look like little adorable little girls anymore, but they're looking more and more like sensual little women. And then there's this push for boys. They're taking the masculinity out of clothes for the boys, okay, because they want to blur the lines. And so now you have young men walking around in skinny jeans and things that are not looking like men's clothes or boys' clothes. They're looking more and more like girls' clothes. And so there is a very, very clear agenda that is being pushed here. And if we are not wise, if we don't protect our children and their minds, if we allow them to go with the flow and we don't lead them and guide them, the scripture says, train them up in the way that they should go. You see? And so what is happening is when our children go into environments such as school and just other places, they're hanging around other young people, they will begin to take on the ways of these other young people to fit in. They go into these schools and you see young girls wearing clothes that are very sensual. They will desire to do the same. And as they grow, they will desire to do that because it is the popular thing to do. And so it's really frightening when you have all of these outside influences trying to tell your daughters dress sensually, or your sons dress feminine, or telling them that it's okay to have this desire or that desire, to the point where everything is sexualized and sensualized. And there's all of this blurring of the lines because parents are none the wiser these days. Spirituality is being removed from our very fabric of thinking and being, to the point where we allow these things because we think it only involves the changing of times and that we are the ones who are behind and need to get with the program. This is the ideal that's being pushed, that the parents are the ones that are behind. And so we will see often, too, where parents are trying to be friends with their children, hanging out with them. Now, get this. I don't see anything wrong with being good friends with your children and hanging out with them if you are the influence. For instance, you're taking your sons fishing. You're influencing their future. You're teaching them how to be hunters, right? Teaching them how to use weapons. Being friends with them in the sense of sharing truth with them. Having them to understand your role as a parent and their role as children. Now, being a friend today with your kids or your children, a lot of parents are dressing like them, acting like them, trying to be cool with them. And so they are being influenced by their children. And so that is, again, another blurring of the lines of a parent-child relationship. In many cases, the parents are just as wild and ratchet as the children because the lines have been blurred. And so we are headed in a very bad direction right now as it relates to fashion, behavior, sexual attitudes, and promiscuity. All of these things are just being blurred and being changed. And no one sees what is happening. Or should I say, not enough of us see what is happening, because as I see parents helping to push and promote these things, it is very sad indeed. You have Celine Dion, who is an entertainer. So that makes her an influencer. She is also a mother. She has children. But she is one who is trying to blur the lines. And so what we've got to do is put on the whole armor of Yah, that we may be able to stand against the wiles or the devices of the enemy. Don't take any of this lightly. They are after our children in so many ways, and they have been for a very, very long time. For a very long time. And if we sit back with our legs crossed, twiddling our thumbs, they are coming in for the kill. What are you going to do about it? Okay, family, I am out. Be sure to ring the bell to be notified of new uploads on this channel, and also comment, share, like, and subscribe.